Hi, I'm Bill Russell. I'm the winemaker here at Westport Rivers. It's a family-run vineyard and winery on the south coast of Massachusetts. My brother Rob grows the grapes. My mom and dad are involved, and we're actually my brother Rob and I are the fourth generation in the wine growing business. My great-grandfather and grandfather had a historic winery in upstate New York, a little town called Hammondsport. And when my mom and dad had an opportunity to do something together in the early 80s, they decided to set up this vineyard winery in Westport, which is now planted out to 80 acres of vinifera grapes. Originally, when the vines went in the ground, I mean, that first planting was 40,000 grapevines. We thought that the most challenging thing was going to be growing the grapes. Nobody had grown vinifera grapes in Massachusetts to this scale before, so there was no track record or history to look back at. This was truly a sort of a revolutionary moment in agriculture in Massachusetts. And so we assumed that that was going to be very difficult. As it turned out, the vines grew really well. I mean, our soils are deep, rich, typical sort of New England loam. There are no problems to them, and there's lots of nutrients there that are available to the vines. They're fairly well drained where they need to be. We need to do a little bit of irrigation here or there, but in general, the grapes grow and the grapes ripen. And as long as we were paying attention to what the farm wanted to do naturally, which was to do sparkling wine, which was to do dry, crisp, aromatic white wines, as long as we weren't trying to do a real big, rich, ripe Syrah in Massachusetts, it seemed that this farm wanted to partner with us. The bulk of what we grow in the vineyard is Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, Riesling. From that, we make our sparkling wine. And of that, we make really one main style, which is our Westport Brut. It's called Robert James Russell, which my brother Rob, who's also a Robert James Russell, but it's not named after him. It's named after my dad. And we wanted to, when we came out with our first vintage of sparkling wine, in some way say, thanks, Dad, for giving us the opportunity to work alongside you in this family business. And so we named it that. It's become known as sort of RJR over the years. So that's the biggest production of our sparkling wine. We also do some really tiny releases, special releases. One's called a Blanc de Blanc, which is a sparkling wine not made all from Chardonnay. One is called a Blanc de Noir, which is a sparkling wine made from Pinot Noir, which is a black grape. We're in the middle of tens of thousands of bottles of sparkling wine aging here at Westport Rivers. One of the necessary things you do when you're making sparkling wine is it needs to age for anywhere from 3 to 15 years. So it's quite a bit of commitment to time. This is not big, huge, bulk processed, big business sparkling wine. This is handcrafted, farm-raised sparkling wines, which are very, very rare and very few of them exist in the wine world. So we're welcome to come visit us on our farm here in Westport, Massachusetts. Enjoy a day away in the country. Go visit the coast, down the roads, the beach and stuff. It's just a great way to get away and enjoy life. Cheers.
Hi, I'm Linda Burt, and this is my husband Casey, and together with our son Joshua and our daughter-in-law Jen, we are Pioneer Valley Vineyard. And we started the vineyard back in '04 when our son actually came to us. My husband is a 6th-generation farmer in the Pioneer Valley, and we knew that we wanted to keep doing something in farming, but we didn't really know what. And our son had been making his own wine and had been kind of working with wineries, and he came to us one day and brought up this idea of starting a vineyard, planting some grapes, and having a winery. We thought it was a great idea. We thought, you know, it's farming, we love to do farming, that it's something that we'd like to try. So we did.
Obviously, this field that we planted is rather flat and sandy. We had a number of people said they wouldn't grow at all, but they've actually done very well. Obviously, aesthetic wise, you like a rolling hill side, but we don't have that. We're fairly flat. It's been a learning experience. It's been a lot of fun, a lot of work. I compare it to having 1,400 tomato plants. It's all hand work. You have to take care of them, each individually.
So this is the winery area, and when we put this addition on, we wanted to make sure that when people came in to taste, that they not only got the tasting, but that they could actually see where everything was made. We wanted you to be able to see the tanks, and so that maybe on any given weekend when you come in to have a tasting, you could maybe also find us labeling bottles or transferring wine or any of a million other things that have to be done in a winery. So we wanted to make sure people could walk through here and see it and really get the whole experience. We currently make 10 different varieties of wines. We make a red Frontenac grape wine, which is made with the grapes that we grow here on the property, and we make a white Cayuga wine, which is made with the Cayuga grapes. And the Frontenac we make in a dry, very dry version, or we do it in a slightly sweeter version. It's not sweet, it's just a semi-dry. And then the Cayuga is a semi-dry also. And we do a variety of fruit wines made from local fruit from local farms. We're all about local, working with the farmers, and that's what we like to do. We didn't even anticipate doing this many fruit wines, but every time we make one, it ends up getting well received, so we feel like we need to keep doing it. So that's how we kind of ended up with this many fruit wines at this point. Pioneer Valley Vineyard is located in Hatfield, Massachusetts, and we're open from October through December for free wine tastings, and then throughout the year you can also find us in local stores.
Hi, my name is Dick Adelman, and 38 years ago we bought Alfalfa Farm, a pretty old historic farm, about 300 years old from what I understand, originally 500 or 600 acres. And for many of those years it was a dairy farm. About 38 years ago the dairy farm went out of business, and when we first came here we raised polled Hereford beef cattle and horses. And then in 1995 we planted the grapes that we use now for the winery and started making wine, originally from grapes that we bought from other farms, and then as our grape plants got old enough 3 or 4 years later, we started harvesting our own grapes.
We're really sort of a micro winery here. Everybody's got other day jobs, so for our labor we really count on the community to pitch in. We've got over 200 people on our volunteers list, and they help us from everything from pruning in the springtime to harvesting in the fall, and also an occasional quality control taste, and I think that's what keeps them coming back. We grow 4 different grape varieties, all French-American hybrids. We've got 2 whites, Saval Blanc and Aurora, which have a flavor profile similar to Sauvignon Blanc, which is something that people might be a little bit more familiar with. And then for reds, we have Leon Mallet and Maréchal Foch. I think we have a nice portfolio of wines here. We have everything from lighter whites to medium-bodied whites. We have a rosé again, our Rogue Rosé, which is actually named by our volunteer group. And we have reds as well as some sweeter fruit wines. We usually have cranberry and blueberry, occasionally strawberry. We try to get that from local farmers if we can. And we've been bringing in fruit from the West Coast and blending it with some of our local grown fruit, and we find that the acidity brings brightness and a liveliness to the wines, and people seem to really enjoy it. And in fact, we entered one of our blends into an international competition and won a medal, so I don't think we're alone in that opinion.
Thanks for watching. Our tasting room is open for tasting and tours on weekends from 1 to 5 every Saturday and Sunday, and we hope to see you here soon.
Located in Rowley, Massachusetts, Mill River Winery was founded by Rick Russo and Donna Martin, a team of winemakers who meld classic artisan traditions with modern technology to create a range of delicious handcrafted wines. In this segment, Rick and Donna explain how their passion for wine and science culminated in the creation of Mill River, a one-time cider mill that now houses an elegant winery and tasting room.
I started making beer probably 1990, just as a hoot, something to do. A little bit after that, I walked into a friend of mine's house and recognized some of the same equipment, and it wasn't beer. And I asked him what he was doing. He said, "I'm making wine." And I said, "Really, from grapes?" He's like, "Yeah, tell me more," you know. And I just kind of got into the wine thing at that point, and never even drank wine until I started making it, you know. And so I just enjoyed it, you know. It was just a kind of a cool hobby.
I tasted a lot of Rick's wines and they were great. They really were wonderful. And my background is that I'm a PhD chemist, and I took some of my chemistry and some of my background and applied it to his wines. And I would ask him, "Gee, did you ever try the pH or, you know, change different things?" And Rick started testing the wines, and they really started getting better and better to a point where we thought it would be great to partner together and make some.
You thought it would be great.
Yeah. Right in back of our future vineyard, about less than a quarter of a mile away, is the Mill River, and the Mill River jumps out into the bay, very close to us.
This building, as far as we know, was built in the 1890s. It was an apple cider mill. I'm told by the people that used to come here that on top of these rafters here, this was an open ceiling right to the ridge of the roof. All right, you could see straight up there, and there was a big apple press up on top with sluices and channeled. The cider used to just come down to big vats down here.
These are blended wines made from grapes from Massachusetts. We source these grapes from the University of Massachusetts. The Plum Island is up the road a little bit. It's a great tourist location. And as you can see, when you go to the Plum Island, the first thing you'll see guys surf casting on the beach, usually with a cooler and their dog, and that's what we celebrated here with the Plum Island. This is a very popular wine. Both of these are very approachable to any wine drinker at all. So Mill River Winery is open all the time for tastings and tours, Wednesday through Saturday from 11 to 6, and then on Sunday from 12 to 6. We'll also be opening in the evenings for some private functions, as well as some functions that we'd like to do, including some tasting and pairings, as well as making your own cases of wine and blending.
Hi, I'm Dave Roberts. I'm the owner of the Truro Vineyards along with my family. We purchased this in March 1st, 2007. The winery was actually started in '91. It was started by two ladies who had the vision that this would be a perfect location for what we do as a vineyard and winery. And it turns out they were right. And we grow here Chardonnay, Cabernet Franc, and Merlot grapes. We have 6 acres.
Well, most of our acreage is under Cab Franc. Traditionally, Cab Franc likes this New England climate. That was the reason the previous owners opted for Cab Franc. We have a lucky site because the sandy soil heats up, and we are able to ripen it to the point where we don't have the aggressive bell pepper flavor of our Cab Franc, which is very characteristic to the northeastern grown Cab Francs.
On the white side, our Chardonnay, which we have 3 different types, an estate, which is of course 100% our grapes. We have our original Chardonnay, which is a French-style American oak, lightly oaked for about 90 days. And then the third is a totally unoaked, which is really crisp and pristine, and that's 100% Massachusetts grapes. So the first thing, as I said, that we have really put our energy into the area of wine production to create the quality that we wanted. And then we focused on the experience for our customers, and that really is, it all goes around the tasting area. So we created a new tasting room. It's built literally right into the vineyard, as you can see, and it's a beautiful experience. People sit down, it's a relaxed scenario. They get to taste 10 wines up to 10, of which individually they taste 5, and a lot of couples will typically share, so they actually get to at least take a little sip of 10 different wines. It's a great experiment for people who are enjoying wines sometimes for the first time. So we do tours and tastings here every day during the season, and that includes tastings that take place every half hour, and the tours are at 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock every day, and we hope to see you soon.
Welcome to Willow Spring Vineyards. My name is Jim Parker.
I'm Cindy Parker.
And we're the owners. This beautiful vineyard that we started about 10 years ago in 2001. The focus really was around the barn. We bought the property and we kind of made a pledge to Mrs. Ray, who was the former owner, that we would try to keep it under some form of agriculture. But we had this big old barn that was falling apart that we had to do something with. We no sooner got the ink dried on the deed, and we got a registered letter from the city building inspector saying that we had a condemned building on our hands and it had to come down. So that was a challenge right there, and we've got a lot of do-it-yourselfer in us, and my dad was a carpenter and I've done carpentry all my life. So at that point there was something about this structure that was saying, save me.
Jim and a couple of his best friends were off skiing, and they went to a microbrewery, and one of them suggested maybe he should grow hops, and then he said he could just see vines, and though we really didn't have much or any really experience with wine, then we jumped in and went to seminars, and Jim read a ton of books and went to all the courses we could and tried to acquire all the knowledge, and visited some local wineries who all said, don't do this, you can't get there from here. But we forged ahead.
Although we do have a unique site, we were blessed with the site. And I guess if there was one rule that all of the seminars and all of the folks that know more about viticulture than we did were to drive home, it was site selection. We didn't choose the site for its selection for wine. It did happen upon us. It is a south-facing slope, and we have excellent air drainage and great soil for growing grapes. And that being said, we experimented with some varietals that don't always do as well this far north. We planted Sauvignon Blanc and Vignoles for our 2 whites, and we planted Maréchal Foch and Leon Merlot for the 2 reds. And really, the folks that try these wines, the 4 hybrids that we grow, they love them. And these are educated consumers that we're dealing with too. It's neat to see that people come to these farmers markets and the different markets, and they want to learn, but they're also folks that that are local oriented, really interested in the products, and enjoy the wines, and boy, oh boy, they really buying them, so that's terrific.
They're appreciating the quality, which I guess they really probably initially didn't expect.
We really enjoy what we do, and we're excited about having the winery open. We hope to see you all soon.
How you doing? I'm Frank Zoll, owner of Zoll Cellars Winery in Shrewsbury, Massachusetts. We started our winery here in 2009 after we were licensed by the town of Shrewsbury, the federal government, and the state of Massachusetts. We had planted Traminette grapes just the year before. We do a total of 7 different varietals. We try to provide our customers a snapshot taste of New England with all of our wines. In addition to the wines that we make here, we also offer a number of private classes and events. We offer Harvest Crush classes where we bring in fruit from Massachusetts, Long Island, California, Washington, Italy, wherever you want to get it from. We can help you create your own private wine label. We have a fermenting vat here with about 1,000 pounds of grapes in it. This will yield, once we press the juice from the skins, approximately 60 gallons of wine.
That'll yield on average about 240 to 250 bottles of wine. That is an average wine consumption for one couple for about a year. That's consumption for a couple to have a glass of wine with dinner every night, and then some extra bottles of wine for the weekends and maybe some for the holidays. So even though it sounds like a lot of wine, you'd be amazed how fast people can work their way through it.
240 bottles is an average price of about $17 a bottle for your own private wine label. Along with that, you get the opportunity to come down and process your wine 4 different times. Every time we process it, we will crush the grapes, we will press the juice from the skins, we'll put everything into stainless steel tanks or oak barrels, and then finally, about 6 to 9 months after we've processed it, we will have wine and we'll be able to bottle.
We want to give people the ability to be able to make their own wine without having the limitations of equipment, wine, science knowledge, and space.
Zoll Cellars Winery is located in Shrewsbury, Massachusetts. You can find our wines at zollwine.com and a number of farmers markets throughout the year. Take a look at our website and you can find a list of all of our private events and classes, and we hope to see you soon.
Hello, I'm Marco Montes. I'm the owner and winemaker of Travessia Winery in downtown New Bedford, Massachusetts. My winery is named Travessia. Travessia is a Portuguese word that stands for passage or journey, and it can either be a boat crossing the ocean or your passage through life. And being that I have a Portuguese background and I'm in the city of New Bedford, which is half Portuguese, I thought there would be a good name for a winery. We focus on making wines with locally grown grapes. We purchase our grapes from other vineyards here in Dartmouth and Westport. And then we make the wine here at our winery. And we try to focus really on the locally grown grapes, and what that means is mostly white wines and some rosés. We also make red wines, but for that we usually bring in grapes from the West Coast, from both California and Washington State. And we sort of bottle those wines as a separate brand. They have a completely different label, so everyone knows that they made with grapes that are not grown here in Massachusetts. Once the grapes come in, we tend to do a lot of things by hand. There's very few machines that we use here. Of course, that's very work intensive and it's hard labor, but I feel that that's really what I want to do with being a small winery, making wines in small production, sometime about 100 cases per wine. So that's really our focus on making wines in a way that's very simplistic, to really get out of the way and just really let the flavors that come from the vineyard show in the final wine. I tend to do all my fermentations in stainless steel tanks. After fermentations, my red wines all go into barrels, and some whites, like a Chardonnay, even though I do make an unoaked Chardonnay, I also make a barrel-aged Chardonnay. That does go to barrel too. This room right here was actually all we had for the first 3 years. So it was our winemaking facility and our tasting and sales room at the same time. Until recent, we just opened a new tasting room. And people used to come in and look at the tile on the walls and see grapes and mention that, wow, that must have been a lot of work, but in reality, we had nothing to do with it. These tiles that you see on the wall, they've been here since 1914. And the tile on the floor, the same way. So I think that someone just knew that one day in time there was going to be a winery here. So this is the old tasting room. Let's head into the new one. So we are in our new tasting room. Visitors come in and they can taste our wines right here in this tasting room. We sell all our wines here. We currently have 5 wines for sale, even though we make usually 7-8 wines per vintage. You come in, taste the wines, and if you like, you can purchase them here. We tend to sell most of our wines right here, right out of the tasting room. Thank you for watching. We are open Wednesday through Saturday from noon to 6 p.m. and on Sunday from noon to 5 p.m. Please come visit us. Hope to see you soon.